Hey, good morning. It's Monday, and this is, let's see, May 25th, 2020. And we are here this morning to have a tech tip. Good morning.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone. So it is Monday morning, and this is Tech Tip Talks with Christina,
Hi.
who's a tech editor, and I'm Sarah. And I'm also a tech editor, and today we are going to be talking about size charts. If you guys have questions for us while we're talking, please throw them into the comments and we'll do our best to answer them. And Christina's trying to get her phone to stand.
You guys would die laughing if you saw like what I have to do here to make this work. It's really unfortunate.
And I'm still waking up. Cheers, coffee.
T.
How are you guys all? How are you doing? Today is a holiday in the United States.
Memorial
But
Day.
it's Memorial Day, otherwise known in my family as Decoration Day, where you honor those who served our country and fell. But we figured we'd go ahead and have a tech tip talk anyway since we're home. Um, so today, size charts. What kind of questions you guys have for us about size charts? Um, and put them in the comments below. Uh, Let me check here. We got one question that I'd like to address.
Okay.
Later on. I just got it in my comments on our post. So,
Oh, I haven't been able to check the questions and I can't now because I'm on live
oh
with you.
yeah, no, it's okay.
Okay.
So, size charts. What is a size chart? A size chart is literally a table of measurements of all the body, of all the different points on the body, and their body measurements, not garment measurements. They're actual body measurements, and you use the size chart to design all the different sizes, to apply your design ease to all the different sizes to make the design work for different body sizes. We also call them size standards. Is that right? Have you heard that before?
Sizing
Hi,
standards.
Sambanet. Sizing standards. Yeah. So you would you might see them as size chart. You might see it called size standards. Um, and what we want to talk today about is how you might use them, how your tech editor will use them to check your patterns, and also where do
Why
you
they're
find them
important.
and
Where
why,
to
oh,
find
why
them
they're
and why they're
important.
important. Yeah.
Why they're important is the biggest one. So, Christina, you want to talk about how a tech editor will use them?
I do. So in tech editing, like I don't offer grading. So I don't grade designs and I don't even know how to do that. Right. So when a tech editor does your pattern, they're going to check the entire thing to make sure that the numbers work as written.
Mm-hmm.
And then with those numbers and rows and stitches, figure out the measurements of the item on all the places of the body. And
Right.
then take the size chart that you used that you should send them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to then take the size chart that you used and compare your measurements to the size chart's measurements and make sure that the ease is the same across sizes in all the
Mm-hmm.
places and that it is the ease that you intend. And
Yeah.
so if
That it matches the sample size, whatever your
cor-
sample size is.
correct. So if that doesn't come out right, then the proof's in the pudding that your grading isn't right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we use it. And
Yep.
that's how you find out. And that's why, tech editing is so important.
Yeah. So it's really important when you are designing a garment that you use a size chart that is a good size chart. And it's also important that when you have when you get it tech edited, that your tech editor has the same size chart. So you can
Yes,
send it to
because they
them or send
vary,
a link to
right?
them. Hmm.
They vary. Some size charts are given in a range, which I don't
Hmm.
love that. Some size charts are like 4-inch points, and some size charts are 2-inch points.
Hmm.
Changes across. So, and even some of them that are the same changes are different numbers, right?
Right.
And if
Exactly.
you are including, um, if you're including sizes in your garment that are not on the chart that you normally use, please let your tech editor know how you arrived at the numbers you based your design on for those sizes, or if you used a different chart for those sizes, also include that.
Right. And if you have questions like, I don't know if this works, then or like this particular one, I'm not sure if this is the right way that I should have done it for this size, that's what you need to ask your tech editor for. Even if they don't provide grading services, most tech editors who tech edit garments understand the concept behind fit
Mm,
and what is a good grade and what isn't, just by
that's right.
looking at the numbers, the relationship between your size chart and your design
Yeah,
finished
because the facts
measurements.
don't lie.
No, that's right. And so this is why choosing a good size chart, is really important. So we have our opinions about what is a good size chart. You may have a different opinion. If Can you tell us in the comments below what size chart do you guys like to use when you're designing a garment?
And why do you
What,
like it?
and why do you like it? What is your fave? And are you working on your own size chart? So a size chart is the body measurements, and it can actually be an expression of your branding, of
Mm-hmm.
the kind of knitter that you want your designs to appeal to. Um, so should we tell them what's our favorites? What do we
So
like? What do you like when you have a pattern come across your desk? You're like, yeah, she used this or he used that.
I like the Isolde chart best. I
Okay.
do I do like it best because I feel, in my experience, um, with fit and bodies, I think it's the closest to accurate that is there. I
Hmm.
don't like that it doesn't, it only goes up to a 60-inch bust, and I don't like that. But I think it's the best one in other ways. There
Right.
are size, so that for larger sizes, I'll refer to the Knit It Now charts, or Jill Wolcott has charts that go
Hmm.
higher that I'll look at. And like I said, it's funny though, because Jill Wolcott's numbers for the other sizes are not the same. And
They
the
are
point,
not.
oh, one other thing, not all size charts include the same points.
That's right. That's
So
true.
you may need to look at a different chart than the one you normally use if you're looking for a point that's not on there.
Right. Exactly. So just to recap, we mentioned three charts. Isolda, which you can find on her website for free. She offers this, and it goes from, I think it's not 28, it's 30 to 60 inches in 2-inch increments. And then Knit It Now, which is a machine
Yeah, so see,
knitting.
that Isolde chart doesn't even go as low as it could.
It doesn't. It doesn't go
You know
down
what I
to
mean?
28 or
Yeah.
right. So, and then Knit It Now, which is a machine knitting
Mm-hmm.
website, has more extensive size charts. So they have the smaller and the larger, and then a medium.
They also
That
have
is
size charts on that website for other
men,
things. They have
men
size
and
charts for
children.
men, which honestly,
Hmm.
are there even any other size charts? Well, there's a size chart for men on
In
Craft
Craft
Yarn
Yarn
Council, and
Council.
there's one in the back of the Knitwear Design Workshop, I think, has a men chart.
Yes. And there's written size charts in the Vogue knitting book that we showed you last week, and also in the Knitwear Design Workshop by Shirley Payton. There's size charts in there. The
Yes.
third one that we mentioned was Jill Wolcott, Wolcott.
TT.
She is a grading instructor, and she has extensive experience in fashion design and in knitwear design. The and she is the one who actually offers her her size charts for free on her website also, and they go up to a 67-inch bust, which is large. So she uses ASTM, which is a standards that is, she kind of amalgamated the standards for that. So you can go, you can also purchase size chart, which is ASTM, which is, you can buy a subscription on their site to get everything.
Which is a more affordable way to do it. Like
which is a more
buying the
affordable way.
actual things is
Right.
very costly.
And that's actually new. It didn't used to be that way. It used to be you had to buy the actual physical book or the digital download. So that's that is another way to get extensive size points. So if you need size points for pants, if you need size points for leggings, that's where you're going to find them, is in the ASTM, which you can find at their site. So, and let's see, what other ones did we think about that were also good? Oh, for children, Children's Size Chart has extensive, children'ssizechart.com.
That's what I use. There's another one too.
I like.
I didn't get it. There's another one too. I can put it on the comment under the video when I go back in my office. My son's in there and I can't go in there.
He's hogging the computer.
Yeah.
It's all right. We're all juggling devices and computers and internet where we are too.
Well, we can do that if we should. I can put the I think it in when I go in there.
So do you guys have any questions?
But the children'ssizechart.com is the one I like best. And it's the one I find most of my designers use who design children's clothing.
Yeah, children'ssizechart.com is good. And then the other thing is about hats. There's some excellent hat size charts. Woolly Wormhead has a free size chart on her site. She is like a hat guru.
She is, and her size chart is good. Kate Oates has another one, and Kate Oates' chart has more points.
Yeah, and I like hers a lot.
Yeah, that one's helpful for bonnets, you know, if you're making something that isn't your typical hat, because it has more points on it.
Or something that has to go under the ear or go under the chin. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so I want to read you a question that we got, Christina. Do you guys have any other questions? Can you please throw them in the comments? It makes no sense to base anything on bust size. I've never understood that about knitting patterns. I am 5'9" and 160 pounds, and I have the same bust size as my 5 foot, 120 pound mother-in-law. Needless to say, we can't wear the same sweaters. So here's the problem with size charts in general, and something that you have to take a huge grain of salt and a caveat for, is that no size chart actually matches bodies in real life, or all bodies. There's no one size chart that will match every body, because they are an extrapolated information.
Right.
They are something that is taken from either an average or from a large data pool of bodies, and then they organize it into information. So it's a fit model is what it is. And it is only a base from which to design other things. So if you are tall, if you are smaller chested, or if you are larger chested, then the size chart will not match your body. It's just a fact. So then how do you deal with this conundrum when you are designing? Well, you can make your own, you can build your own size chart. There's no requirement to use something that is done on, that is quote unquote standard.
Right.
And that information, you can study size charts and build your own using the same kind of information that you would find in a regular, in a standards. In my grading course, which will be opening in June, we have a whole module on grading and also extrapolating your own size chart from your measurements. However, there is a way to use them to help design things that fit more bodies, and that's by using the size chart, like Christina said, where there's the same amount of ease added according to the sample, to all the sizes, then it's a good base from which all the knitters can modify to match their
Right.
regular body size. So if you're tall and you don't have a large chest and you actually are the same size as someone who's petite, then you can design or you can design something that can actually be modified easily. So modified in length or modified with the short rows for increased bust size or decreased bust size. Um, in other words, there's a lot of ways, just like in sewing patterns, where you can modify designs to fit bodies. But you can't modify a design if it doesn't start with good bones. And
That's
that's what
it. You
a
need to
size
have a
chart is.
starting point. And that's why
Hmm.
it's so important that the eases be the same across sizes. So at least
Right.
every size has a base that is, you know,
Right.
a good place to start. And they won't have to like basically design their whole own sweater, you know?
Right. It has, in other words, it has to be based on something, and then it has to be based on something that is standard. And then from there, well, it doesn't have to be, but it's good to start from a standard and then allow options for knitters to modify. None of us can usually knit a sweater straight out of the box. Can you, Christina? I can't, for
I
sure.
do have to change things.
Right.
I think a
I
lot
had,
I think a lot of people have to change things.
yes. I think almost, I don't know, there's very few designs that I've ever knit that actually fit me without modification. So right now I'm knitting Jackie Sea Slacks Rift, and I had to add 2 inches to the body because while the bust measurement would fit me and I didn't need to adjust for the cup size, I needed to add more because I'm long-waisted. So most people have to modify designs to fit them well, but they can't do it unless you start from a good base.
Right.
And that's where a good size chart comes into play. So the
Well,
other
and
thing,
also to, oh, sorry, go ahead, honey.
no, 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 go.
Just also to speak to what she's talking about with that, like it's like we talked about last week, where the bust measurement isn't really maybe the
Yeah.
best, you know,
Denominator. Yeah,
sizing guide. You know,
I agree.
I think we need to move away from that.
I would like us to. I don't know how that's going to happen. Y'all can tell us what you think too. Do you think that having everything based on bust size is the way to go, or should it be based on something else and what?
I mean,
Um,
just for a point of reference, my mother and I have very different bodies. The difference between my upper bust measurement and my full bust measurement is only like an inch.
mhm,
But the difference between her upper bust measurement and her full bust measurement is
mhm.
lots of inches.
Yeah,
So,
which is cup size, basically.
so if I make a sweater that is my bust size, it might fit pretty good. We're 1 inch off. But
Hmm.
if I make her a sweater that's her bust size, and there's like all these inches difference from her shoulders to her bust,
Hmm.
it's going to do all that shoulder falling off talked about last week.
Right.
You know, and that's, I think, what's so important. And that's why people have a hard time getting that good fit for all the sizes because of the ways bodies are different between points,
Yeah.
you know, and that's why we do need to find that good place to base the good point to base the sizing on,
Right. And start
you
from
know.
there.
Yeah.
Somebody just asked a question. Can you see it? Can you read it?
Yes, hold on.
So we might need to move away from full bust measurement, which can vary widely in the same, into torso
I'm always
measurement.
confused by drop shoulder construction. The shoulder seam will be very long in larger sizes.
Oh
Will the
yeah.
sleeves be longer or shorter than the smaller sizes? So in a drop shoulder, what ends up happening is
Hmm.
you use the crossback measurement to figure the sleeve length. So what ends up happening is as the sizes get larger, because the shoulder is lower on the
Hmm.
arm, the part of the sleeve that you knit will be shorter and shorter and shorter as the sizes get larger.
And as the sizes get larger, that seam may end up all the way down to elbow, which is a little odd. There is a solution.
There is.
Isolde Teague did a blog post on how to solve this conundrum. And it's on her blog post titled Designing Inverness. I think it's IN, let me try it. Let me see if I can find it. And I have used this with some success on designing a drop shoulder or grading a drop shoulder garment so that that seam ends at the same place on all the bodies, regardless of the bust circumference. And yeah, Designing Inverleith, Inverleith.
Oh yeah, it's Inverleith, not Inverness.
Inverleith. Yeah, yeah. So go search out that blog post, and you will get some insight into a way to work this part of the design differently based on the larger sizes and the smaller sizes, not just straight. And it still gives the same fit, which is amazing.
Right.
So,
Well,
yeah.
and it's dependent on, you have to be careful too, just like in a raglan, that those armholes don't get too big. So
Right.
like the sweater you're knitting, Jackie has a custom fit bicep in there where you
Yes.
can figure out how many rows you need to knit so you get the measurement you want around.
Yeah, so that's other options too. So as you're designing, also thinking
Well,
about,
maybe there's a way to do both.
there might be. Yeah,
And get the
absolutely.
seam where you want it and the arm where you want
Armhole
it.
depth
And,
where you want.
you know,
And so drop shoulder garments, generally speaking, are boxy and are and they're quite popular now to do the drop shoulder here and then have a fitted sleeve. So it's not a straight design. It's not a simple design. It's not any simpler than a raglan because you have these other issues at the ends of the size chart, in the larger and the smallest sizes. Like, you can't just go straight up and assume that it's going to work for every size. So that was a great question. Thank you for asking
here's another
that.
comment. It says, I have a small bust and broad shoulders, so either the shoulders are too slim or the bust is baggy.
Yeah. And I would say that seek out some info. This is not from a tech editor standpoint. This is from me, the knitter standpoint. Seek out some instruction on how to modify sweaters for your body. There are blog posts, there are tutorials on how to take a base sweater and then make it work for you. None of us are standard. That's just a fact. So drop shoulder designs don't fit. Yeah, it can fit some people.
Ooh, there's more. I didn't even see all this. Sorry, you guys.
That's okay. Inverleith. Yeah, thanks, Josephine. Josephine's on top of it.
So Julie says, I think bust size is more accessible to those that are new makers. It's a point of the body they recognize and know how to measure. Right. I mean, I think that's a really good,
and
point.
you can measure it on yourself.
You can measure it on yourself. And that's probably how we arrived at this. I agree that upper bust measurement will help you find a better fit, but I think it leaves newer makers more in the dark.
Yeah.
Because you may need more
Exactly.
adjustments.
Yeah. So this is something that we all have to work out as a community about what works best. And it may be that if we are designing something, maybe we would include information in our pattern to educate about how to measure this part and that part, and then how to make modification.
Also, it also depends when you're choosing a size to make, like as a knitter. If the measurements, like if the upper bust measurement isn't on the schematic, you're not going to be able to size it on that.
You're
right?
at the crick. Yeah,
so
exactly.
It really depends on what measurements designers include in their schematics to help you measure. So the bust, I think that the bust measurement and the bicep measurement should always be in the pattern because those you got to get right. But the upper bust measurement is not often in a schematic. So you're not even going to be able to choose
I don't usually see it.
Yeah. That's only happened a couple times.
So maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree and talk about upper bust, but
Well, we're just trying to get everybody to do it.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I can make that change. One thing I do want to mention, though, as far as size charts go, is something that we talked a lot about last year at the end of the year is be careful what size chart you use. We personally have an opinion to not use Craft Yarn Council as it is today. If you go to my stories under my highlight size chart, I talk about how at the end of last year, Craft Yarn Council said that, asked us for input on updating their size chart. And I haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
So still waiting on that to happen. Craft Yarn Council has a lot of faults in their body size chart. Their
They
armholes
are one that is given in a range. And
right.
like that's so it's like we were talking about how you need to have a good base point. You have to have a good starting point that is as close to true as you can think you have. And so when it's in a range, who knows, right?
Is it a 28-inch bust or is it a 30-inch bust? We don't
Right.
know.
And does that really mean that, like, I'm looking at it, like all the numbers underneath that aren't a range are the same, right? What?
Right. Yeah. It's a little odd. And the armhole depths on the CYC I find are not matching any of the other size charts
They
I
are
have.
way longer than
They're
truth.
way longer.
Way longer than
So
truth. And that leads me to think that maybe
it's
they
not
need a
accurate.
different measurement, or maybe they got their information from a bad place, or
Or
I don't
maybe they've
know. But
already added ease.
yeah,
Because
maybe they've already added ease, and that's something that is like concerning if that's what happened, right?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So because there's so many other good free size charts, we suggest, this is our opinion, this is not a mandate. We suggest that you seek out some other size charts and not use CYC as it is right now. We
I
do
mean,
hope
they're
in the
out there.
Mhm.
So,
We do hope
why
that
not
they
use them?
fix it. And lots of people have told them why it's an issue. But again, a lot's happened in the last few months, so I'm not sure if that will happen anytime soon. So we did get
Victoria
another
asks
question.
if drop shoulders and raglans are different. I think she means difficult to design. What's the easiest to design? I
I
really
don't know
think
if I can
everything's
answer
got its
that.
own set of
It
complications.
it does.
Everything has its own things that you need to watch out for and might not, work out right.
I would suggest if you're really interested in designing sweaters, that you go deep in research in the construction that you love already to wear.
Right.
So
Yeah.
go and study all the things, all the blog posts, all the books, all the construction manuals, everything that you can get your hands on about that particular construction, learn it inside and out, and focus on just one construction. And focus on the one that you love to wear and that you find fits your torso well. And then that kind of gives you a way to design for the other sizes when you
Right.
understand it really well.
Right.
So that could be raglan, that could be drop sleeve, that could be a set-in sleeve, it could be a contiguous sleeve. Whatever you find that you really love is the one that you should focus on learning about and learning how to design. Designing is not easy. It is a difficult task to convey, to not only design it for all the sizes and then to convey in words the information to the
Yeah.
knitter. Are you
Yeah.
right? Technical writing. It is the
Um,
epitome of difficult technical writing.
and I really think that's a good idea to start with one construction and one that you already know well.
Mhm.
And you will find, I mean, it doesn't mean that's all you'll ever design, but
Right.
I think getting comfortable with one kind first and a kind you already know and you like the fit is a great idea.
Yeah, because then you're setting yourself up for a little bit more success than something that you're completely unfamiliar with.
But they do totally all have pitfalls, Victoria. I don't think there's one that's
Yeah.
going to be easier than another.
They all have problems that you have to solve.
Right.
Grading and designing a sweater is not a simple task. So
No.
that's why it's a skill, and that's why people pay for good patterns. So,
Right.
do you guys have any other questions for us? Um, we'd love to hear what you have to say about everything that we've been talking about. Your opinions do matter to us. So,
Josephine says, know that the size charts in Shirley Payton's design book are the CYC size charts. Well,
yeah, and that's
you
what
know
I
what, Josephine?
thought.
I thought that, and because they were, okay,
Ah,
but they've changed them. CYC must have made some kind of changes because
okay.
I was using the Shirley Payton book charts like as my CYC charts, and they are not the same numbers anymore that are on the CYC charts. I had to like print the CYC charts. They're not the same
Mm-hmm.
anymore. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying they're different in every point, but there are some of the things that are different now um, than they used to be. I got in trouble because my designer was like, "That's not what's on my chart. Aren't you using the one I'm
Mm.
using?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm looking at CYC just like we always have. That's the one you use." She's like, "Well, that's not what it says on mine." And I
Oh,
looked it up online and it's not the same anymore.
oh, I see. Hey, Josephine, can you tell us what size chart you use? So Josephine is
Josephine's a tech editor.
the tech editor, is also grades knitting patterns too and tech edits garments. So I'd love to hear what you use.
I would too.
And Julie at work is here too. What size chart Julie, do you use your own size chart or do you use the ASTM? What size chart do you guys recommend for your our other viewers here? Just stick it into the
Yeah,
comments. Please tell us.
Josephine and Julie are good people to get that from.
Yeah. And so the other thing that we also wanted to mention is if you are a tech editor or you're learning to tech edit, how do you use a size chart? Is when you have completed everything, all the numbers check in the pattern. This was always the hardest part for me when I was learning how to tech edit garments. At the end, you have to go back and check that what the rows or the rounds and the stitches, the measurements that they make match what the designer's given you, and then match also the ease against the size chart. So it's like a
Right.
two-step process at the end of
Right.
your tech editing. And it can take a little bit of time.
It does
And
take time.
it took me a while to figure out how to do it and how to do it efficiently for the
Mm,
designers that I was working with.
right.
So make sure that you add that into your checklist if you are learning how to tech edit. At the end of a garment check, you're also checking that the finished measurements match, the that they are the what the stitch counts and row counts will actually make the finished measurements, and that it matches the ease across
Yes,
sizes
because you're
with
not
the
just
size chart.
checking the pattern, you're checking the grading.
Right. Exactly.
So Julie says she uses ASTM. Josephine says she uses Isolde's with added large sizes extrapolated from Jill Wolcott. That's what I do
Oh
sometimes too.
yeah, that's a good
That's
idea.
what I do too. Julie says in
Yeah.
the past I've used Isolde's with some edits to make myself the size and myself the sample size in the middle of the chart. Oh,
Hmm.
well,
And we're kind of excited that there's rumblings in the background. There's people doing work in the background. Indigo Dragonfly Knits is working on an expanded size chart, and so is Jackie Cieslak. Is that right?
yes, and she's
Am I saying that
focusing,
right?
like we said last week, mostly on the ratios between the points on the body and how they change across sizes.
Yeah, so there will hope, I really am crossing my fingers in the future we'll have even more references to refer you to and more resources,
Mhm.
um, because there is a need in our community for good sizing for garments so
Better
that we
size charts.
better size charts. Not that what we have isn't good,
Right.
but we do need more expanded size charts for beyond 60 inches
Hmm.
and below 30, I think.
Hmm.
So that's just my opinion.
Absolutely
Um,
true.
if you want more information on everything that we've talked about, please go to my highlights on my profile. I have all of the size charts that we mentioned in a size chart highlight. I also talk about size inclusion, which is an important thing for Christina and I that we've
Yes.
talked about before. We can talk
I have
about
a
in the
highlight
future.
on my page about inclusive sizing also, and you can see a
Mhm.
lot of things there. Sarah does too.
Yeah, so, and feel free to send us a message or to add a comment on this or to ask a question anytime that you want about if you have a question that comes up after you've watched this. Do you guys have any more questions for us about size charts? I think I think we answered everyone's, right? Let's scroll. I am not good at scrolling on my phone here. Um, so this wraps up size charts. If you guys have anything in particular you want us tech editors to talk about, as far as designing, pattern writing, tech editing, please send us a message and let us know what topics interest you and how you want to pick our brains. Because we are here and we'd like to offer our knowledge to you guys here on Monday mornings in Tech Tip Talk.
Yeah, feel free to ask any question. You can send us comments or you can messages, whatever works.
Yeah. We hope you guys have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Yeah, stay safe, stay healthy.
You too.
I know.
You're... Anyways, we'll talk to you guys very soon. Next Monday, I'm not sure what we're going to talk about. Do you
I'm
have
not
any
either.
ideas yet?
I'm kind of excited to think about it though.
Okay, I know. We both really enjoy talking to you guys.
I really
Thank you
enjoy this.
so
It's
much
fun.
for being
and
here.
I'm really looking forward to think about because we're sticking with sweaters still, right?
I think so. I don't
Well,
know.
you know what we didn't talk about today that we thought we might have, but we didn't. Maybe we can do it next week. Is how and in which places mistakes are often made on the body and what
Oh, yeah.
points
Yeah.
don't change as much, do change a lot, and
hmm
mistakes that people make when they're designing garments and misconceptions they have about those changes.
So, do you guys, maybe we can talk about mistakes that we find, that we often find when we're checking garments, especially
Oh, thanks
when,
to you guys. Everybody's saying thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you. Especially when Christina's checking the stuff that I grade. She always finds the. You want to talk about the mistakes you find in my patterns?
I'll pull it up. Pull it up
Yeah.
next week. Share my screen.
Won't that be exciting? Look at me blush. Nora's like,
I'm
yeah,
not gonna do
yeah.
that. I'm not gonna do
It's
that. I don't.
expose of Sarah's grading mistakes.
No. Everything you tell your tech editor stays with your tech editor. I don't
Oh,
tell. No worries.
it was close there. No, I actually think it'd be smart to talk about common
I think
issues
common
that
pitfalls
come
is a
up,
great thing to talk about.
common
Let's do that.
pitfalls. All right, so we've decided next Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Texas time, we're going to talk about common pitfalls in garment construction and design.
Okay.
See you guys then. Have a great week.
Next week. Bye, you guys.
Bye.